Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Guru Dev ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatar Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Anuvagoriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopala Bhattadasa Raghunath. Shad Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Naam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri the Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa ki jai. The editor, and the in charge of Dainika.
Uh-oh, you froze.
Sorry about that. um, my phone, the power went out, and then I couldn't find my phone. I just found it, and I connected to the internet. Okay. So where was I? Okay, the Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa ki jai, the head editor, of Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, who at that time was Pranavananda Brahmachari ki jai. All the magazines of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, all the periodicals, and all the periodicals of all of his followers ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams. All right, so we're beginning our 5th Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa session with Śrīvāsa, and today the topics are going to be Nūtana Kathā, that means new topics, real accumulation, and we'll be continuing on from Śrī Māyāpura Pūrṇa-candrodaya, the pastimes, summary of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And this was published, well, what year is it? Like 1931 or something, or 1928? I think 1928. Yeah, 1928. Around, these are the issues coming just after Gaur Purnima, right?
Yeah. This one is from March 11th, 1928.
March 11th. Okay, I need to write that in the description. Okay, cool. So Śrīvāsa, would you like to start it off?
Sure. Yeah. We'll start with Nūtana Kathā.
Oh, and just one thing before, all these articles that Śrīvāsa has been translating are available on nadiyaprakāśa.com. I think I'll mention that at the beginning and end, just for, yeah. So nadiyaprakāśa at .com. You can find all these articles. All right. Oh wait, and I need to let you share. Okay, now you can share your screen.
Okay. So, Shri Guru Gauranga Jayata, 28th of Falgun, Monday, 1334, or March 11th, 1928. Nūtana Kathā, new topics. Nowadays, people have so much regard for worldly matters that they do not have even the slightest opportunity to think about anything else. People are doubtful of even the existence of a higher realm. Most of the educated youth especially have decided that discussing Bhagavad Kathā, God, is a waste of time. Though there is some religious sentiment observed amongst the older generation, in most cases, they are so full of their own preconceived notions that they think they know everything, that they have assimilated the confidential purport of the scriptures, and that there is no one more intelligent than them. Thus, what is a Shrota Pantha to them? Aroha Pantha, ascending path, is their only acceptable option. That is, they are determined they will come to comprehend by the strength of their own acumen, and there is no need to depend on anything else. Others generally say, save yourself first. First feed yourself, save yourself, take care of your health, then do Harinam Baba. What practical thing does Nam have the power to do? Harinam is not going to give you clothes to wear and food to eat. When you have worked all day to maintain your livelihood and you are kind of tired, then when you are resting, if someone plays some kol, kartal, and sings some Harinam Kirtan, then you can listen to that for a bit. But we won't like it if there's Kirtan going on here and there all the time. That is going to disturb our rest. If there is some Rasa Kirtan, you can listen to that and relax a bit. Others say, sitting and chanting Harinam all day is for the weak, sick, old, and incapacitated. Now we need asuric, demonic strength. The Upanishads say, Nayamatma bala hinena labhya. The soul cannot be realized without strength. In other words, without developing this asuric power, we won't even get our independence. Because asuric power is, known to be connected with technological power. Though many do accept the necessity of paramartha, spirituality, they bring in so many varieties of sectarianism and ruin everything. As if Bhagavan is confined to one tiny group of people. Vaishnavas are just another sampradaya, they say. Krishna is the god of that sampradaya. If we are not Vaishnavas, then Krishna is no one to us. Just hearing the names Navadip or Vrindavan, people scrunch up their noses and mouths and say, those places are for Vaishnavas. We don't have any connection to that. It is practically impossible to even get a proper measure of just how many different opinions there are like this, swirling around in the world, rife with acceptance and rejection of things on the basis of sheer mental speculation, sankalpa and vikalpa. The simple, universal message of pure devotion and kirtan preached by Śrī Mahaprabhu has checked the momentum of all these speculative currents of thoughts heading in all different directions, and brought before them a completely different perspective. That is precisely why the general public are saying, what you are talking about sounds like it has no actual origin. We don't want to hear that monotonous Puranic humdrum about what happened in the age of the Bhagavad Puran. Now is a new age. Say something new. We will hear Nūtana Kathā, new topics. We say, dear brothers, we are telling you something new, but old is new and new is old. Purana, old, Puratana, ancient, Sadatana or Sanatana, everlasting topics are always new and fresh. They are never confined by the three divisions of time, past, present, and future. They exist for all eternity. You are not hearing properly. Your ear holes are so full of information about the fleeting, perishable world that the ever-fresh message of the transcendental realm cannot even find a way in. You may think you are hearing about the transcendental world, but it is not so. If you want to hear about the transcendental realm, you need to first present your ears. One of my friends, isn't this something that Srila Sridhar Maharaj would say? It sounds familiar.
Param Gurudev used to say it also. Maybe Srila Sridhar Goswami said it, but I have a couple quotes of Param Gurudev where he says, first one, prepare your ears. And that means develop transcendental Shraddha, right? Once you have Shraddha, then you can actually,
some faith. Present your ears. One of my friends, one day, suddenly went to my Gurudev and asked, Master, speak some Hari Katha to me. Master heard him and chuckled, and then said, you will have to hear a few other things before you hear Hari Katha. Look, in the general world, a boy goes to his grandmother and says, Grandma, tell me a story. Grandmother starts telling him a story, and the boy is delighted. But this Hari Katha is not a grandmother's tale. To hear this, you have to prepare your ears. And you need to have all the necessary qualifications to realize it. Then there is the possibility to obtain bliss from this. Otherwise, you can spend 200 gallons of blood, but that will not help you much. Shri Krishna Katha is never something that can be grasped by the material senses. Only when the senses are in a state of being inclined towards service does one earn the fortune of hearing Krishna's name, etc., via those senses. Atashri Krishna namadi nabhavid grayam indriyai sevonmukhi jivadho swayameva spuratyada. How does one attain this inclination towards service? Sri Bhagavan's dear friend Arjuna has personally acted out that teaching for all of us conditioned souls. Arjuna is saying to Sri Bhagavan, O Lord, I have relinquished all my independence today. I am your disciple in every respect, ready to be disciplined. I am exclusively surrendered to you. Instruct me in tattva gyan, knowledge of the truth. Shishyasteham shadimam tam prapannam. Elsewhere in Sri Gita, Sri Bhagavan says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. A Gurudev who is a seer of truth and knows Krishna Tattva imparts Tattva Gyan, because an Acharya's function is to discuss or teach Bhakti. Acharyam Bhakti Shangshanat. But the disciple's responsibility is to fully surrender his soul at the lotus feet of that Acharya, giving up all manner of independence, and inquire, not bring up futile arguments, but genuinely, truly inquire about his own spiritual well-being. This kind of inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa. What is that inquiry like? Acharya Sanatana Goswami has once shown us this teaching. Ke ami, keno more jare tapatray, iha nahi jani kemoni hita hoy. Sadhya sadhana tattva puchite na jani. Kripa kori saba tattva kahato apani. Once again, the answer given to this sort of pariprashna, earnest inquiry, will manifest in the inquirer's heart to the extent that his inclination to serve has blossomed. Atmanikshep, surrender of the self, is not just something you say. Seva buddhi, the inclination to serve, is the main symptom of someone who is giving themselves fully. Therefore, the simultaneous combination of pranipat, surrender, pariprashna, sincere inquiry, and seva is what gives every jiv the qualification to hear Hari Katha. When Sri Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, to instruct the jivas, relinquished all manner of independence and came before Sriman Mahaprabhu with total surrender and inclination to serve and asked, who am I, etc., then Mahaprabhu used him as a prop of sorts to impart to the jivas everlasting or eternally fresh teachings and instructions for their deliverance. Sanatan is an eternally perfected associate of Bhagavan. We must understand his enactment of pastimes as a jiva who attains perfection via sadhan to be expressly To be expressly for the sake of ignorant persons, such as myself or ourselves. Change that. To impose on him the idea that he is or was a conditioned soul is but the sign of a terrible offense at his feet. Surely jivas who are possessed of little fortune cannot develop this sort of surrender for the lotus feet of a bona fide guru. Only after accumulating sukriti for many, many births can this sort of service to God arise for them. Alpa bhagye jiver nahe Krishna premoday sangsara bhramite kon bhagye keho tare nadir pravahe jena kashta lage tire kono bhagye karo sangsar kshayon hoy sadhu sangue tare Krishne rati upajay. I guess I should try to translate these a bit. So the jiva with little fortune does not experience the arousal of Krishna prem. Sangsar bhramite kona bhagye ke hotare. As they roam through material existence, by some fortune, some are delivered, just as sticks wash up on the banks, driven by the current of the river. Kono bhagye karo sangsar shayan mukoy. In this way, some by some fortune experience their material sangsar beginning to wane, decline. Sadhu sange tare, in the association of sadhus, they become delivered, and divine attachment to Krishna arises. This fortune or sukriti is of three types: bhakti unmukhi, bhogonmukhi, and mokshonmukhi sukriti. So three types of sukriti. All activities that are assured to generate pure devotion within this samsara produce bhakti unmukhi sukriti. All activities that produce sense enjoyment give bhogonmukhi sukriti. And actions that lead to moksha give mokshonmukhi sukriti. Bhoga and moksha, or indulgence and liberation, both cause the jiva to become embroiled in samsara and are obstacles to Krishna bhakti. Only Krishna bhakti unmukhi sukriti destroys samsara. When this sukriti is well nourished and fructifies, when the jiva's attachment to sadhu sangha arises, and the desire to hear satkatha, spiritual topics, arises, then, sorry, I'm going to read that again. When the sukriti is well nourished and fructifies, then the jiva's attachment to sadhu sangha arises, and the desire to hear satkatha, spiritual topics, arises. Once the jiva acquires this sort of sukriti, he will not regard discussion of Bhagavad Katha to be a waste of time. 2, he will only have regard for Shrota Katha, for what he has heard from the mouth of Guru, not for any Ashrota Katha or the ascending path. 3, he will realize that the soul's healthy or natural state is service to Krishna, and that alone constitutes his only measure of health or well-being. Whereas what is an unnatural state of being is aversion to Krishna, and that constitutes his sickness or poor health. 4, instead of the twisted idea that I should first take care of my needs and then do Harinam, he develops the attitude that he is carrying out his life in order to perform Harinam, or else it would be preferable if his life were finished. As a result of Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti, the jiva can also understand, it's the 5th point, that Shravan and Kirtan of Harikatha are not to satisfy his senses. Rather, all the singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments is to please Krishna's senses. He also realizes that listening to Rasakatha or performing Kirtan of it falls into the category of Anadhikar Charcha, dealing with subjects beyond one's qualification. With this Rasa Kirtan, very Rasic Kirtan of Krishna's intimate pastimes is something that is popularly performed in Bengal. And it's becomes a form of worldly entertainment if it's just done for enjoyment. Gurudev alone will determine our qualification and give us the right to cultivate such esoteric matters. If one listens to Rasa Kathā when one is not qualified, it is inevitable that one will end up in hell. People of the world are pursuing their own ruin as a result of this immature posturing. They impose material conceptions onto Radha and Krishna, and thus charge down the path to hell. 7. Those without strength cannot perform Harinam, but that strength is not demonic strength. So that the strength that would give you the ability to do Harinam is not the asuric strength, not the demonic strength. That strength is spiritual strength, that of Sri Gurudev, who is non-different from Baladev or Nityananda. One must develop that strength to do Harinam. Body and mind are perishable material objects. Identifying with them and striving to keep them flourishing is the project of a crazy person, not an intelligent, discerning one. The strength of body and mind exists in phases of childhood, youth, and old age. But the strength of the soul has no such disparity. The soul is devoid of material growth or decay. It is only because of a lack of realization of that strength that we are thinking of ourselves as weak. However, by Baladev's mercy, that misconception will quickly disappear. As we become invigorated with that strength of the soul, we will subdue the 6 urges of speech, thought, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals. Conquering the whole universe's aversion to Krishna, we will earn our own domain, or, in other words, the everlasting service of Krishna. 8. Vaishnavas are not confined to any sectarian parochialism.
Wait, what's that mean? What's parochialism mean?
Let me just look it up here. Oh wait, I can't even get my, there we go. Get the right definition here. Narrow-mindedness, localism, provincialism, and limited or narrow outlook, especially focused on a local area.
Okay, great, thanks.
Vaishnavas are not confined to any sectarian parochialism. All living entities are Vaishnavas. Keho mane, keho na mane, sabatar das. Jena mane se papitar hoy nash. Those whom it angers to accept a connection with Vishnu, the God of gods, are antagonists of Vishnu, atheistic. This verse, it says, Keho mane, keho na mane. Some accept, some believe, some do not. But regardless, all are his servants. And one who does not put his faith in him ends up engaging in sinful activity and reaping ruin. Those whom it angers to accept a connection with Vishnu, the God of gods, are antagonists of Vishnu, atheistic. It was to cut this sort of atheism from the world that Sri Bhagavan Gaurasundar incarnated in Śrī Māyāpura Navadip, along with his expansions, weapons, and associates. O Jiva, why do you choose your own ruin and then perish in lamentation? Leave aside all your ego related to birth, affluence, erudition, and physical beauty, and Gaura Jana Sangha Koro, Gauranga Bolia, Hare Krishna Bolo, Nachiya Nachiya. Associate with the associates of Gaura and chant Gauranga. Chant the names Hare Krishna, dancing and dancing. Let go of sectarian enmity. Don't waste any more of your time in useless pursuits. If you become established in your constitutional position, you will have no more lacking. You are all Krishna's entities. None of you are separate from Krishna. Your only duty is to serve Krishna. Krishna is the Father of the world. If you do not serve that Father, you will end up a betrayer of the Father and must suffer the threefold miseries of birth after birth. The threefold miseries, birth after birth. Do not disregard the words of Sri Bhagavan's associates. This whole universe is temporary. All of its information is temporary. As you go about revering temporary information, Do not forget to acquire something of the eternal. The subjects discussed in the Puranas, the ancient topics, are the only new and everlasting topics. Honor that Kathā.
Oh, wow. And do you think this was written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada? I mean, like, was this coming from his Harikatha? Or do you think it was Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj who wrote it? Do you have any kind of sense? No.
Yeah, this one I couldn't see anywhere in the Gaudiya. So I think it's either Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj or someone else. And it's framed as a kind of like that one of them went to Prabhupada and asked him about some Kathā, and then
Oh yes,
Prabhupada gave a response. So it's kind of a paraphrased lecture of Saraswati Thakur. It seems like at least the first article, especially, they're trying to give something directly from Prabhupada, one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Could you imagine? And they had to write something that long, not just one thing, multiple things every single day. This isn't just like it took them a long, they had to do that all in one day. It's just, yeah, mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think there's some mention in the Sridham Pracharani Sabha of some others that were helping. So I think they were, contributors definitely. But Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj definitely had to edit everything, compile everything, organize it all, plan it out. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall watching his process. Great.
Prabhu?
Yes.
When, just to not interrupt you, when will be the right time to do some question of clarification in the end, just to not interrupt your dynamic?
Some glorification of Srila Puri Maharaj.
No, clarification.
Oh, clarification.
Ask a question, clarification, yeah.
When will be the right time?
I think if it's relevant to what we just read, I think we can stop in between. Otherwise, we'll get to other topics and forget about this. So if there's something you want to clarify, please go ahead.
Yeah, when you say, as talking about the different kind of sukriti, they say ascending path, they say ashrauta kata. The ascending path is what the worst one, is the opposite to bhakti, the ascending path.
Yes.
Is the opposite to bhakti.
Yeah, aroha, it's like climbing, trying to climb. And then the avaroha is the descending path. And it's easy to get these two terms confused if we don't know Sanskrit. But I like to remember, just a little trick for myself, is the word avalanche. Avalanche, it rolls down the mountain, right? And it's got that same Sanskrit prefix, ava, meaning coming down. So avaroha, I just think avalanche. It's, the avalanche of mercy, of Krishna's mercy, just Mahaprabhu's mercy is just flowing on us, covering us, sweeping us away.
That's great.
Like that, Madhukar?
Yeah, I do. That's really clever. At least somebody like you do that. Yeah, and also avaroha is synonymous with surrender, right? It's like when we surrender, we surrender to get help from above, and then that help comes to us, right? So it's
it might just totally sweep us away and change our lives.
All right.
You're welcome. So, real accumulation. My throat is feeling like really dry. Is it like? Do you want to jump in and read one?
Sure, I'll do that. 1 second. Let me just share my screen. There. Okay. Real accumulation. The whole world is preoccupied with accumulation. It is not as if these sorts of pursuits are only being seen during present times. This has been going on since time immemorial. The kings are always busy fighting battles to acquire kingdoms. Citizens are always performing yagyas and other functions to expand their families or communities. Religious types are busy worshiping various gods and goddesses to acquire religiosity. the Gyanis, the erudites, are always busy consulting various scriptures in order to collect knowledge. There's another class of people besides these who are so eager to fill their coffers. And coffer is, let's see, coffer is a strong box, money box, cash box, money chests. Okay, so there's another class of people besides these who are so eager to fill their coffers that they do not hesitate to abandon their morality and prescribed lawful actions. Ultimately, in order to condone their own sinful activities, they resort to atheism. They are all accumulators, and it is not as if those whom we see as renunciants, it is not, sorry, they are all accumulators, and it's not as if those whom we see as renunciants have abstained from these tendencies of accumulation. If we examine their lives, we will see that they were even greater accumulators than the aforementioned ones. The only difference between them and us is that they are not interested in the petty accumulations we want. They want something much greater. This sort of drive for accumulation has come to be our nature at present. But really reflect and try to see what the results of these accumulation efforts will be. The result of these pursuits is rather terrifying, which is why this tendency has been criticized in the scriptures dealing with morality. There's an old story in this context. Once upon a time, a hunter was intent on acquiring some meat. So he grabbed his bow and went off into the forest and killed a deer. The hunter was bringing the dead deer home when a monstrous boar came into view. So he set down the deer and shot the boar with an arrow. But the boar also injured the hunter, and the hunter was killed. At the same time, a snake was also trampled to death in the struggle between the hunter and the boar. Meanwhile, a jackal was roaming in search of food when he came upon the dead snake, hunter, and boar, and thought to himself, "Wow, I am so lucky to have found so much food. I can happily survive 3 months on this. 1 month I can eat the man, the deer and the boar will last 2 months, and the snake 1 day. For today, I'll just eat the, I don't know how you say it, sinew bowstring."
Sinew, yeah, it's like a
sinew.
tendon.
Okay. "I'll just eat the sinew bowstring." Thinking this, he bit into the bowstring, but it snapped with such force that he got impaled by the blow.
The bow.
The bow. He got impaled by the bow. This is the sort of fate that awaits every accumulator. Yeah, we collect all our life, and then all of a sudden, once we've accumulated so much, then we die and we lose it all. Though there are hundreds of stories like this, it is not as if we let any of them help us. Why? Because we discuss things like this only when we are in school, perhaps. When it comes to applying what we have learned, we forget all those things. Therefore, Scripture has said, "Those who only read Scripture but do not act accordingly can never be worthy of the title Pandit or Jnani." Now, the question may arise that if we abstain entirely from accumulating things, then how will we maintain our sojourn in samsara, in this material world? There is a beautiful deliberation in this regard. We are conscious entities. Our eternal connection is with the fullest expression of consciousness. We actually do not have any connection to inert matter. We only have a brief encounter with matter during our conditioned state. As long as we have this interaction with matter, then surely we must engage in acquiring things, but only to maintain our bodies. Whatever we can easily obtain to carry out our lives, and the rest of our time, we should remain engaged in the service of Hari. That is why the scriptures prescribe yavan nirvaha pratigraha. Acquire as much as one requires. And yavan nirvaha pratigraha. That means acquiring as much financial resources as are needed to carry out one's journey through samsara. On top of that, one must go about acquiring the essentials for one's survival in the samsara by honest means. One cannot make a pretext of religiosity or resort to sinful acts to fill one's belly or acquire money by cheating people. Our eternal dharma is serving Bhagavan. This we must always keep in mind. The scriptures have said, Na vyakyam upayunjita narabham arabhet kvachit. Narambhan arabhet kvachit sai. In other words, one must not make a livelihood of explaining the scriptures. This is called yukta vairagya, to acquire by honest means as one requires. The devotees are yukta vairagis. Though they may be engaged in various efforts of acquisition in the world like everyone else, they are nishkinchan, they are not attached. The people of mundane world cannot understand their activities. Brothers, always keep in mind the following. Sangama Keshava Bhakti Gangam Bhasi Nimajjanam Asare Kalu Sangsare Trini Sarani Bhavayit. Sanchai means acquiring wealth for one's own enjoyment. However, those who do not simply strive to accumulate wealth in a miserly fashion, like the aforementioned jackal, but rather use the wealth they have earned or acquired in the service of Bhagavan, that person cannot be called a sanchayi. Those people aren't sanchayis. The miserly bury their wealth underground, and eventually it is appropriated by thieves or kings and becomes the indulgence of another. Those who use their accumulated or stored artha, wealth, to serve Bhagavan, they obtain paramartha, the supreme wealth. Those who use their artha for Bhagavan obtain paramartha, the supreme wealth, in exchange. It is not new information that attachment to wealth is the root of all evils. Therefore, whatever one has, one should use to serve the devotees and Bhagavan. Only then will we achieve both artha and paramartha simultaneously, and life will be full of joy. Otherwise, in our final hours, we will be tormented in the fires of guilt and regret. Wow. It's a great one.
On a heavy note.
Yes.
Right, so.
1 second, let me just stop sharing. Where the heck did it go? Oops, there it is. Okay.
Śrī Māyāpura Pūrṇa-candrodaya. Continued from the last issue. One day, Śrī Madhavendra Puri's disciple, Śrī Ishvara Puri, came to Navadvip and arrived at the home of Advaita. On the way, he came face to face with Gaur Sundar, who invited him to come for lunch at his home, to which he agreed, and the two of them discussed various topics related to Krishna. One day, Ishvara Puri asked Mahaprabhu to edit a book he had written entitled Shri Krishna Lilamrita. But Mahaprabhu said, there can be no error in the composition of Shrota Kathā, in the composition or Shrota Kathā of a Shrotapanthi Guru. People who are utterly deluded by material perception may point out flaws in such works, but they are surely Pashandas, miscreants. One day, Shri Gaur Sundar displayed symptoms of prem on the pretext of having a disturbance of the vital airs, a mental disturbance. Another day, Mahaprabhu went out wandering in Navadvip and went to the homes of weavers, cowherd men, fragrance merchants, florists, betel nut sellers, conch merchants, etc., and blessed them by accepting what they offered him. After that, he went to the home of an astrologer and asked him to tell him about his previous life. So the astrologer chanted Gopal mantra and started doing his calculations, when he started seeing four-armed and two-armed forms of Bhagavan. After that, Mahaprabhu went to Kolabecha Sridhar's house and had a variety of affectionate quarrels with him and swore to take tod, banana tree core, bananas, radishes, banana tree bark, and other vegetables from Sridhar's garden every day without paying him. Now Mahaprabhu began donning splendor as the crest jewel of teachers in Navadvip. An acclaimed Digvijay scholar who had received a boon from Saraswati Devi and defeated scholars all throughout the land came to Navadvip to get his signed admissions of defeat from the scholars there too. One day, Mahaprabhu was sitting with his students on the bank of the Ganga when the Digvijay arrived there in the assembly. Mahaprabhu asked him to compose a hymn in praise of Ganga. So the Digvijay composed a hymn on the spot and began reciting it instantaneously without pause. Mahaprabhu, who is the husband of Saraswati, began quoting several words and poetic devices in the hymn and pointing out many flaws in them. Thus the Digvijay was defeated. That night, the Digvijay saw Saraswati Devi come to him and say, "Nimai Pandit is my lord. I am the material Saraswati, his external energy, the mere shadow of his internal Shuddha Saraswati. I cannot even come before Narayan. I remain out of view, under his shelter. Quickly take shelter of Gaura Narayan." The next day at dawn, the Digvijay related all this to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu instructed him to worship Krishna. And he explained to him that the fruit of knowledge is service to Vishnu and the Vaishnavas. After this, the greatest of teachers, Nimai Pandit, went to East Bengal to earn some money and began spreading Nam Sankirtan everywhere there. Seeing how brilliant he was, hundreds and hundreds of students began coming to study from him. At this time, there was a Brahmin by the name of Tapan Mishra, who, unable to determine the real tenets of spiritual practice and attainment, sadhya, sadhan, tattva, from the plethora of scriptures and conflicting views of various munis, was instructed in a dream to approach Mahaprabhu. The Lord instructed Tapan Mishra that Harinam Sankirtan alone is the only goal and the only means to achieve that goal. He also instructed Tapan Mishra to go to Kashi. The Lord returned from East Bengal and heard that Lakshmi Devi had been bitten by the snake of her separation from him and gone to Vaikuntha. Imitating an ordinary person, he displayed grief and also instructed his mother on the fleeting nature of this material world. If Gaur Sundar saw a student not wearing tilak on his forehead, he would send him back home to do tilak and other associated rituals first. Mahaprabhu would say, "A forehead without tilak is like a cremation ground." On an auspicious day, at an auspicious time, the Lord's wedding pastime to Sri Vishnupriya Devi, the daughter of Navadip resident and royal scholar Sri Sanatan Mishra, was performed. A fortunate personality named Buddhimanta Khan took it upon himself to bear the expense of this wedding pastime of Lakshmi Narayan. After this, Sri Gaur Sundar wanted to demonstrate how surrendering at the feet of Guru and Vaishnavas is the one eternal dharma of the jivas, and the only true fruit of visiting holy places is to obtain the association of sadhus. He wanted to demonstrate that one can only perform Krishna bhajan by offering oneself at the feet of the sadhu. Sadhus are the ultimate personifications of all holy places. Just seeing a sadhu is infinitely greater than performing millions and millions of funerary pindadan rites. As long as the jiva does not have the fortune of making a proper connection with a bona fide Vaishnava guru, he maintains an inclination toward various reward-oriented actions, kamya karma. To teach this to those inclined towards service by providing a contrasting mentality for them, Sri Gaur Sundar manifested a pastime of having a fever and drinking the foot bath water of a Brahmin as a Kamya Karmi would. Thereafter, he continued on to Gaya and went through the motions of offering Pinda oblations for his father, then took darshan of the impression of Gadadhar Vishnu's feet, met with Ishwarapuri, and surrendered himself to Ishwarapuri, received the 10-syllable mantra, and performed various other instructive pastimes. Now the time had come for the Lord to reveal himself. When Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, he began performing a pastime of changing his mood entirely. That restlessness from before, the impudence, the pride in his erudition and bragging disappeared. As he related to a few devotees in private what had happened in Gaya, he began chanting Krishna, Krishna, and bathing himself in an incessant flow of tears. He was trembling, sometimes taking deep, deep breaths, not speaking anything beside Krishna Kathā. When he started explaining the grammar sutras and commentaries, he explained everything from a perspective of Krishna Nam, telling everyone, there is nothing besides the name of Krishna in all the scriptures. Sometimes, in the mood of Bhagavan Kapila, he would instruct his mother Sachi Devi about the suffering of the living entity in the womb, and how one must incessantly chant the name of Krishna in the association of sadhus. When his students asked him about etymology, he explained the dhatus, verbal roots, as Sri Krishna's energies. The Lord ordered them to abandon other discussions and simply hear and chant Krishna's name. He taught them how to perform Sankirtan. Sometimes, to teach people how to serve Vaishnavas, he would manifest pastimes of performing various menial services for the Vaishnavas by his own hands. Sometimes he would manifest a pastime of taking the blessings and foot dust of the Vaishnavas, thereby preaching that worship of Sri Krishna is only attainable by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. In this way, after his pastime of accepting Krishna Mantra Diksha in Gaya from the sannyasi Sri Ishwarapuri, Mahaprabhu manifested his pastime of changing his mood and unveiling divine love, thereby conveying that only one who knows Krishna Tattva is worthy of being Guru. Whether he is a sannyasi or born in a low caste is not to be considered. And after receiving divine knowledge or mercy from the bona fide Guru, all the disciple's previous history changes, and no duty remains for him other than to engage incessantly in hearing and reciting Harikatha. The Lord returned to Navadvip from Gaya and began preaching divine love everywhere. One day, Sri Gaurasundar sat on the throne of Vishnu in Śrīvāsa's house and said, Shachi Devi has made an offense to Sri Advaita Acharya. Therefore, until her offense to a Vaishnava is forgiven, she will not attain Prema Bhakti at all. Absorbed in Vatsalya Ras, Shachi Devi had said, missing quotation there. Absorbed in Vatsalya Ras, Shachi Devi had said that Sri Vishwarup had taken sannyas because of Advaita Acharya. When the devotees brought Advaita Prabhu there, he began glorifying Shachi Devi profusely and became overwhelmed with prem. Shachi Devi took that opportunity to take Advaita Acharya's foot dust and beg for forgiveness for her offense. By this pastime, Mahaprabhu demonstrated that if someone has committed offense to a Vaishnava, they cannot attain Prema Bhakti. One day, in Śrīvāsa, Advaita Acharya asked Mahaprabhu to show him the universal form he had shown during his pastimes as Sri Krishna. Mahaprabhu then showed this universal form to Advaita Acharya. Another day, all the devotees got together at Śrīvāsa and performed Abhishek of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu sat atop the throne of Vishnu and manifested his opulence as the King of Kings. Mahaprabhu began granting whatever boons people wanted. Sri Gaurasundar's second self, Sri Nityananda, who is non-different from the son of Rohini, Balaram, took birth in the village of Ekachakra in the Birbhum district, in the home of Harai Pandit, from the womb of Padmavati. During Nityananda's childhood, a Vaishnava sannyasi, once visited his home and asked Harai Pandit to give Nityananda to him. From then onwards, Nityananda roamed many places with that sannyasi and lived in Mathura Mandal for a long time. Drawn by Mahaprabhu, Nityananda came to Navadip and hid himself at Nandanacharya's home. Mahaprabhu came to know that, met with him, and brought him to his home. Mahaprabhu then engaged Thakur Haridas and Nityananda in going from door to door throughout the town of Navadip to preach the name of Krishna. One day, Nityananda Prabhu had been preaching from door to door and was returning to Mahaprabhu's home in the evening when he came across two so-called Brahmins, Jagai and Madhai, who were drunk. Though they had been born in a Brahmin family, they drank alcohol, ate cow flesh, stole, committed adultery, and every other imaginable sin. Because they were always in the company of drunkards, the only sin they had not committed was the aparad of criticizing Vaishnavas. Nityananda, who is the deliverer of the fallen and possessed of boundless sympathy for the sufferings of others, along with Thakur Haridas, decided to show mercy to Jagai and Madhai. In fact, Nityananda Prabhu was roaming around late in the evening precisely because he wanted to show mercy to them. Jagai and Madhai saw Nityananda Prabhu. As soon as Madhai heard the Avadut's name, he became enraged and threw a clay vessel at Nityananda Prabhu's head. Seeing this, Jagai tried to dissuade Madhai from being so aggressive. That moment, Mahaprabhu arrived there with his associates and enraged, summoned his Sudarshan Chakra. But Nityananda Prabhu said to Mahaprabhu, Jagai protected me, so you have to forgive him. Mahaprabhu was pleased with Jagai, and meanwhile, a change had come over Madhai. Nityananda Prabhu forgave Madhai. Both were very repentant and vowed to never engage in anything but the service of Krishna for the rest of their lives. So Mahaprabhu and the devotees extended their mercy to them. By Mahaprabhu's grace, the two rogues became Mahabhagavats. Mahaprabhu instructed the devotees not to disrespect them on the basis of what they had done in the past. In the town of Navadip, which was full of countless high-class brahmanas, Mahaprabhu had Thakur Haridas, who had been born into a Muslim family, preach the glories of the holy name, and through Nityananda, he enacted the pastime of delivering Jagai and Madhai. By this, Mahaprabhu conveyed that a Vaishnava is the teacher of all Brahmin lineages, and he cannot be judged by his race or family because he is a transcendental entity, a teacher to the whole world. Mahaprabhu also conveyed that all manner of offenses can be forgiven, but Bhagavan does not have the capacity to forgive Vaishnava aparad. Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu only show their mercy to those who are free of Vaishnava aparad. To be continued. That was like 10 chapters of Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Yeah. I wonder why it made such would do so much at one time when this is a daily magazine.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's just an unlimited amount of Hari Katha that there's no, never any short.
On, there's a it's kind of like a summary of Bhagavatam. So maybe they were trying to get through Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Charitamrita, go on to Bhagavatam like that. And
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope.
Okay, so then this is the last section, the news, daily news. Yes, Didi.
What is really meaning of Digni Vijay? Is like this scholar is like a follow Karma Kanda. This scholar Digni Vijay.
So a dig means directions, dik, directions, and Vijay means to conquer. So there was a system that the Pandit, to establish himself, he would go around in his own town, he would defeat everyone, then he would go to the next town and the next town, everywhere, and he would get them actually to sign, I've been defeated by such and such. This is a proof and acceptance. So he's called the Digvijay. the direction conqueror.
Conqueror. And one thing more, this pastime of the Mahaprabhu manifest taking the food bath of Brahmana and become got fever. What this has to teach us? We shouldn't do these things, like only for the qualified person to take the food bath of the guru, like a bona fide guru.
From what I recall of reading the commentary on this, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has quite a large commentary on this. Two things. One thing is Mahaprabhu is teaching actually how dear his devotees are. A real Brahmana is a real Vaishnava. And so the Lord is very happy, like, with the pastime of Sudama. Krishna is so happy to bathe his feet and take the water. And this time he had a headache, and so taking the water actually relieved the headache. But then there's an extensive commentary explaining Mahaprabhu's whole journey to Gaya was kind of a way of showing that karmakanda is a process to go through. It's, in society, we do certain things, even Vaishnavas do certain things that externally look like it's part of conforming in Vedic society. But really they transcend that. They come to the lotus feet of Vishnu. They surrender to the lotus feet of Vishnu. And then they're not trapped in kind of dry or fruitive ritualism. That is a phase. And they move on to something else. There's a step or several steps beyond that. I'm just paraphrasing. There's a very extensive commentary on that. Do you want to add something, Madhukarji?
No, that's great. Yeah.
Hope that answers.
And one thing more, the offense of Sachi Devi is just because his son took sannyasi by going to the school of Advaita Acharya. That's what she didn't like him like that.
Yeah, there was definitely something in her heart, right? And so Mahaprabhu wanted to clear that. It's a beautiful pastime, how the associates of Mahaprabhu, even his mother, manifest these different, she had a grudge against Advaita Acharya. And Mahaprabhu wanted to clear the air. He wanted to, how dear Advaita Acharya is to him, how dear Sachi Mata is. He wanted them to not have a grudge between them. And teaching through that. Every pastime has like such so many different instructions for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Didi. Thanks for the questions. It's nice. Okay, so Nūtana Kathā. No, Nana Kathā, not Nūtana Kathā. Local. A received letter to the revered editor of Nadīyā Prakāśa. Mahashay, yesterday I went to Nrsimhapalli with various ingredients to offer bhoga to Nrsimhadev. I was there till 1 p.m. I did not see Nrsimhadev's pujari. So I went to where these pujaris live, in the village of Vishnupur. This village is about 2 miles away from Nrsimhadev. I'm starting to doubt that Nrsimhadev has been worshipped properly for quite some time. I heard that even during Navadip Parikrama, the thousands of pilgrims who came did not see the pujari. Even when I offered, I love Madhukar's got this look.
I was just imagining the pujari finding this in the newspaper, like, oh crap.
I heard that even during Navadip Parikrama, the thousands of pujaris who came did not see the pujari. Even when I offered to bring the pujaris in my motor car to offer the bhoga, they showed indifference to the matter. Then I mentioned the name of one of the Nadīyā Maharaja's employees, and that caught their attention. So they came with me. Now they are having a dispute in their family about scheduling who serves on which day. The good news in all this is that the pujaris want to use the money that they are to receive, which is now deposited at the king's residence, to repair the dilapidated temple. I am asking everyone to draw Maharaj Bahadur's gracious attention to this matter. I guess because there was an actual king of Navadip at that time. Nivedak Shri Siddheshwar Majumdar, LMS Naihati. So I guess things have improved quite a bit since then.
Yeah, hopefully it's all been sorted by now.
The Vigraha, so I guess this is Shilpuri Maharaj writing. The Shri Vigraha at Shri Nrsingadevpalli has been there since before anyone can remember. For some time now, it has been included among the deities that are looked after by the government of the Nadīyā Maharaj, who is very keen on fulfilling his prescribed duties. Now, he's not criticizing the king at all here. Within Shri Navadvip, this temple is located on the very edge of Godrundvip. Worship has not been going on properly for quite some time. Many indigenous Hindus of Krishnanagar perform various rituals like the Annaprashan ceremony for their children here. We want the worship here to grow brighter day by day. We hope that those entrusted with this service will strive to execute the duties they have, the burden of performing, and increase our delight and that of others in general. I feel like the way he written it in Bengali, with this service will strive to execute the duties they have the burden of, was a little bit of a jab at them. Like, don't see it as a burden, guys. Come on. Some days, okay, Nadīyā Ferry Ghat. Some days ago, the local residents conveyed to the district magistrate Bahadur that the divisional commissioner Bahadur is like this term of respect. It's like Bahaduri is like prowess. So it's like often I'm seeing it used here in almost like a taunting way. It's like referring to the government in some ways, like, oh, you're so capable, supposedly so capable, so do something. Conveyed to the district magistrate Bahadur and the divisional commissioner Bahadur the inconveniences they are facing with the disorderliness of the Navadvip Ferry Ghat, and filed 3 applications with the district board. Though the lessee, or the leasee, knows about all these complaints, we have not heard of any efforts they have made to clear up the inconveniences. So that's the company that was leasing the rights to operate boats at the ghats. All these government ghats have been built for the convenience of pilgrims crossing. The union's president and others responsible for the disorderliness are responsible for the disorderliness at all these ghats. Those above them are the circle officer, subdivisional officer, and others. We have not heard anything of how much they have tried to clear up this problem, if they have tried at all. The union board president is one of the appealers. Therefore, it is up to the circle officer and the local divisional magistrate to investigate the matter. Then only will it be addressed and solved. Every person who has made an appeal is being tormented by the lessees, by the people operating the ghats. It seems that the reason the circle officer and divisional hakim, magistrate Mahashai, are not demonstrating the refulgence of sympathy is because they're not victims of the situation. At present, the district board vice chairman, Khan Bahadur M. Ajikul Haq, BLMLC, Mahashai, has told petitioners on March 8th in letter number 2021G that the Navadvip Ferry has not yet come under the board's jurisdiction. And as long as the ferry ghat is not offered to their jurisdiction, they cannot do anything to clear up the inconveniences. Whatever the case, we will be most pleased if whoever does have control of the ferry ghat in their hands and is responsible for overseeing the convenience of the travelers deals with the situation. Carts transporting cargo and traveling to and fro get baked in this summer heat for no good reason. This is also troubling the hearts of the members of the Pashu Klesh Nivarani Sabha, Society for the Alleviation of Animal Suffering. like nothing else. There's another story about this sabha that they made a law in Calcutta that during the summer, during May, June, July, nobody could drive bullock carts in the city between 12 and 3 p.m. when the sun is hottest. They're trying to get people not to like force their bulls to work in the boiling hot sun.
Oh, it's so nice.
Animal rights movement, starting early here. But as long as the lessees are indifferent to the issue, there's no limit to the difficulties people have to face. Kushtia art exhibit. Because the cholera epidemic in Kushtia has increased, a sudden decision has been made to postpone the art exhibition.
I think it's just so neat how involved the Gaudiya Math is getting with all these things to do with, you know, with the boats and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was another one talking about the roadway. There was like bushes overgrowing some road, and they're like getting on the government's case to clear that up.
Very neat.
Banga Lakshmi Mill case, judge's ruling. After a prolonged 7-week trial at the Calcutta High Court, the judgment in the case of the Bengal cotton mill was pronounced before Judge Page and a jury of 9 last Friday. The jury unanimously found Mr. Basant Kumar Lahiri and Mr. Bhupendranath Banerjee guilty of conspiracy and breach of trust, and 7 members of the jury found Sukumar Lahiri at fault, while 2 decided he was not. Regarding the 3 charges related to the breach of trust, the jury unanimously found B.K. Lahiri guilty, while for the remaining issues, 5 found him guilty and 4 acquitted him. Regarding the manipulation of valuable documentary evidence, 7 jury members found Sukumar Lahiri guilty, while 2 acquitted him. And other allegations, all jury members acquitted him. With the majority decision of the judge and the jury, Basant Kumar Lahiri was sentenced to 8 years for the conspiracy charge and was ordered to serve 7 years of rigorous imprisonment for each of the 2 charges of breach of trust. The sentences will run concurrently. For the accused Bhupendranath Banerjee, or I think the word should be consecutively, actually. For the accused Bhupendranath, huh?
Nothing. I was wondering about that. It's like concurrently, okay.
Yeah, it's consecutively. For the accused Bhupendranath Banerjee, the judge ordered 6 years for the conspiracy charge, and for each of the 2 charges of aiding and breaches of trust, 6 years of hard labor. All sentences will run consecutively. I'm taking advantage of your mercy to also do proofreading at this time. The 3rd accused, Sukumar Lahiri, was sentenced to 5 years hard labor for the charge of conspiracy and 5 years each for several charges of forging valuable documents. All sentences will run consecutively. After that, the judge, addressing the jury on behalf of the residents of Calcutta, expressed gratitude for their diligence and effort in handling this case. The judge has stated that although they would not have to be part of a jury for the next 2 years, he has requested that they not be called for at least 5 years. I guess because the case was so tedious and exhausting. City College unrest. City College was closed due to unrest. From March 8 onwards, the college has reopened. However, the students have collectively boycotted the college by staging a religious protest. On March 8th, only 1 Brahmin student and 2 Muslim students attended classes. Despite seeing this, Principal Hiramachandra Maitra ordered teachers that they must go to class, give lectures, and mark student attendance, noting either present or absent in their ledger, etc. This directive will be in effect until April 22nd, even if the students do not go to college. He has no objection to the teachers speaking to empty classrooms. It is not clear whether the faculty is pleased with this order or not. On the other hand, there seems to be deep unrest in the student community. It is reported that in the governing body meeting, Several professors have showered various kinds of abuses on Hindu students. The students learned all this once they arrived at college on March 8th. Since then, those who are dissatisfied have formed an assembly. Reports state that the following proposals have been accepted in their meetings. Students will not go to college for 7 days. Meanwhile, they will arrange for transfers to another college. It is already decided that many students will apply for a transfer soon. In the beginning of the meeting, students collectively chanted the names of Bhagavan to the accompaniment of Kol Kartal. Various advertisements were seen on the walls of City College. The Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan, right, to the Chandkazi was the first, one of the first, I think, examples we have recorded of peaceful protest, and you can see the spirit is still strong in Bengal.
Yeah.
What actually happened between the students, the Muslims and the Indies in the school?
It started, I believe, around Saraswati Puja, Vasant Panchami. There was a deity. Every year, the students would worship Saraswati Devi on that day, and there had never been any problem with the Muslim students. But you'll see in other reports, there's indication that there's like government agents, perhaps the British, inciting agitation between Hindus and Muslims where there wasn't any problem before. People are noticing like a government agent will show up in town and a new Muslim teacher, and then the Muslim teacher will be provoking the students. So a similar thing happened in the college. One Muslim teacher told a couple students, Muslim students, to go take the deity and destroy the deity, get rid of the deity. And then the Hindu students retaliated, and it created a whole thing. There's some further theories about why this was happening. There's like certain professors that they let go. There's certain things going on in the academia of the time, like almost like British academia trying to suppress Bengali sciences and stuff. There was some really prominent scientists like Satyendranath Bose, who like he made this extraordinary discovery that's the Bose-Einstein condensate. That's basically what happens to particles when they cool. So he theorized this like 50 years before it was proven later. And so he's been, really like honored in the scientific community since then. But at the time, he wrote this article of his theories, his proving his theory, and he tried to send it to the British Journal of Sciences, some main journal in England, and they just didn't print it. They just didn't respond. They just refused to print it. So then he sent it directly to Einstein, and Einstein personally translated it and published it. And so it's called the Bose-Einstein condensate. So there's like, when you start looking and researching into the back, you see there's something going on in the background. There's some struggle going on. Yeah. All right.
Did you find that all? Was that all? Like, did you see that all in Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa articles, or you just read about that?
Well, there was an article about this, about Satyendranath Bose, and then I was talking to Rup Kishore Prabhu, researching some of this, and then going deeper and read that story about Bose and Einstein, and Bose getting his publications kind of blocked, and yeah, some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, Dr. Bose had a machine by which he measured the emotions of the plants.
Oh, okay.
He would like, how nowadays there is this type of photography that a Japanese scientist started, and it's like whatever you said, like a surface of water. If it's done like, let's say, "Oh, I love you," that it's all beautiful waves in the water. And if you make the angry, emotion, the water is all choppy and like that. Well, plants are very sensitive, and they can talk to each other. So Bose invented That's one of the things he also came out with, Prabhupada mentioned.
Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, I want to do a deeper study of him.
Somebody should, yeah, really.
You said
Yeah,
Srila Prabhupada mentions that. Hari Prabhu?
I'm sorry about the machine,
About
yes.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yes,
Wow.
definitely. No, Prabhupada was kind of like, and I believe maybe it's the relation to that scientist. He had laboratories, and Prabhupada was the manager for a laboratory. Both at one point, he was being prepped to be like the wealthiest probably person in Bengal in the pharmaceuticals, something like that. But then, what Krishna wanted him to do. But yeah, go ahead.
There's a short little article or little like one of these news notices from the very first Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa of this third year. If there's time, maybe I could just read that. It's kind of interesting. Wait 1 second.
And share your screen when you're ready also.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. Say that telephone. Okay. Okay, you guys can see? Okay.
Yeah, we can see right now. I was just wondering about point of clarification when you mentioned, the mood of what was going on in the colleges and like that, and its time of independence, like that. And but Prabhupada mentioned the march of Lord Chaitanya as a first civil disobedience. And I kind of chuckled to myself. We were laughing in Madhukar. People were like coming in the gardens and uprooting entire trees and burning down the house.
Right, it wasn't peaceful necessarily.
It was a civil disobedience.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this it's titled Seva Kalpana. So Kalpana can mean like can have a slightly negative connotation and can be like you're conjuring or imagining or trying, Seva Kalpana, or it can be just positive. This Sunday, the 12th of February at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at number 161 Harrison Road, there was an assembly of the Vaishnav Seva Samiti. 9 gentlemen were in attendance. Of these 9, Shriyukta Satyendranath Bose was engaged as the Samiti's director. This committee has been formed to serve the glory of Vaishnava Tirthas and Mahajans and protect their memory, protect the authenticity of scriptural translations, and protect the Karmi Sevaks, working servants of Vaishnava society. The most industrious members are Sri Hatas Saratiya Vairagiji, Panihatis Rai Bhatta, Amulya Babu, Dhaka District Shri Kishore Chandra Ganguly, and others. If there is no ulterior motive in this initiative, then some service can happen. Otherwise, it will turn out to be nothing but a conflict zone, like the unveiling of Sri Gaura's birthplace. Of the gentlemen, Kshiroda Babu and Satyendra Babu do not have tulsi malas. They have manamalas, garlands of the mind. They have many accolades, many scholastic accomplishments. Till now, we have not been able to understand what a karmi of Vaishnava society is, because I mentioned the karmi sevak. This is what they announced. One of their goals was to help the karmi sevaks of Vaishnava society. So now they're asking, well, what is exactly of karmi in Vaishnava society? Bhagavatam states that karma tyag, giving up fruitive actions, and naish karma, doing everything as an offering of devotional service, is bhakti. So if the efforts of these new Bhagavatas can arouse the nirmatsarata, non-enviousness spoken of in Bhagavatam, then good. Our only fear is that in attempting to serve, Kshiroda Babu may lose consciousness in sentimentality, like in Champahati. I don't know what that's referring to. But it's interesting that there's like this gentle chiding, you know, a little gentle chastisement there going on. It makes me think that this is coming from Saraswati Thakur himself. Like devotees are bringing, you know, news articles to Saraswati Thakur. Like, what do you think of this? And it's like, well, you know, if they're just getting stuck in karma kanda, then in karma, then you know, not so good. But maybe they can do something helpful. Because Saraswati Thakur was part of that, or was being invited to be part of that intelligentsia, right? And he renounced that. He you know, really clearly put that aside. And so it's interesting. Yeah. But they were trying, so Satyendranath Bose, he definitely had some good samskars. He was trying to serve the Vaishnavas, trying to preserve Shastras, authenticity of the Shastras and translations. So that's interesting. All right.
Interesting. So that was from a few issues before, was it? That was at the beginning.
Was the very first one of the year that we didn't read because we just kind of jumped to the Gaur Purnima, yeah. Next year we can come around to it.
Yeah, sure. All right, so that I think we can end with a little kirtan, and then
Sure.
right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Shinitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Śrīvāsa, would you like to do Jaidwani?
Sure. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhari Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Niti Leela Prakāśa Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Niti Leela Prakāśa Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Niti Leela Prakāśa Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Nitya Lila Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Nitya Lila Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Lila Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Lila Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. सपार्षद जोग गुरु शिला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। महाभागवत प्रभु श्री गौर किशोर दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। सप्तम गोस्वामी सच्चिदानंद शिला भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। गौड़ी वेदांत आचार्य श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्रय की जय। श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्टनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदराय रमनंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गोवर्धन द्वादश शिवज मंडल धाम की जय। राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज यमुना गंगा भक्ति तुलसी देवी की जय। सर्वाभिष्ट प्रदाता श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशंकारी श्री नृसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रभा श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चारि धाम चारि आचार्य चारि संप्रदाय की जय। आकर मठराज श्री चैतन्य मठ की जय। श्री दैनिक नदिया प्रकाश की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदेवे सत्यदाय वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Jai Ho. All right, so thank you, Śrīvāsa. So I just one thing. Then this next Sunday, I have a meeting at and so unless Śrīvāsa wants to start, like unless he wants to start on time, my meeting will end at 7:30. So that means we'd start this half an hour later, unless Śrīvāsa wants to start it. It's either way. Maybe I could work that out with you, but if you want me to start it, then it will be just half an hour later.
Okay.
And okay, and then you can access all these articles on Nadīyā Prakāśa. Satya Mataji mentioned that she was spelling it like it's spelt with an H, and so she's getting. I'll just show you how to spell it. It's oops. NadīyāPrakāśa.com. So you can find all these articles on NadīyāPrakāśa.com, spelled like that. And also, I highly recommend everybody who hasn't done so already, go to bigdrum.us. That's Śrīvāsa's website, and he's always translating all sorts of very, very, very interesting things from all over the place. Articles by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada that's nobody's ever seen before in English, by Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Goswami, by so many acharyas, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada himself. There's so much on the website, so you can check it out, bigdrum.us, and you can subscribe, and you'll get his next article that he translates from there will go into your inbox. All right. All right, so until next time, Dandavat pranams everybody. Hari Bol, Śrīvāsa Prabhu pranams, Nuri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Sarveshwari Mataji, Krishnamai Didi, Champak Mataji, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, Shubhananta Prabhu, and I see there about 9 or 10 devotees on YouTube and Facebook, but I only see those who wrote comments. So, Hare Krishna, Amit Dandekar, Rasapriya Didi, Vidya Lalasa Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Emer Gandharva, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. See you all either tomorrow. Oh yeah, tomorrow is Raise of the Harmonist. We're going to have our, is it 7th or 6th or 7th Raise? I think 7th Raise of the Harmonist Ishtagoshti, and we're going to read an article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada called Gaur Kishore, I forgot what the Gaur Kishore, the ideal of renunciation, or something like that. Anyhow, that will be our article for tomorrow. We'll have an Ishtagoshti on that. So I hope you can all join for that. And Jai Shri Radhe. All right, Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarit. Hare Krishna.
Everybody, thank you.
Hari Bol.